Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Merit points, 74,603. Avatar, 100 Tribulations Insight. Remaining life, 40,521 days. Item, Deadly Strike card X1, Critical Block card X62, Passive, Binding Cage card X2, Wizard, Resting, Buy-in, Jiliang, Critical Heal card X1, Thunderblast X1, Disguise card X1, Golden Taishu Mirror, Appearance Alteration card X3, Reversal card X33, Shining Stone X1. Weapon, Unnamed, Life Cutter, Jade Horsetail Whisk, Spotless Dagger, High Void, Damaged. From Lulan to Liang Province, he had earned close to 70,000 merit points. The reason he did not reach 100,000 merit points was due to the lack of nascent Divinity Realm elites. The reward for killing Divine Court Realm cultivators was reduced to 10 points each. Cultivators below the Brahmin Sea Realm were not counted. For this reason, although he had slain many of his enemies, his merit points were relatively low. Just as well. I'll spend 50,000 merit points, and use the rest for lucky draws and purchasing the cards, Zhou said. Zhou called up the item card dashboard. Without hesitation, he purchased a golden lotus leaf. Before he raised his cultivation base, he decided to stockpile Deadly Strike cards in case its price rose in the future. Zhou checked the price for the Deadly Strike card. It was 10,000 merit points each. Purchase. After purchasing a Deadly Strike card, Zhou looked at the price and frowned despite having expected it. The price had risen to 12,000 merit points. The prices of the other item cards had risen as well. Zhou was slightly speechless. The prices were increasing more and more frequently. The prices would go up every time he raised his cultivation base or purchased a card. Ding. Received genuine worship from 1,500 individuals. Reward, 15,000 merit points. Ding. Received genuine worship from 1,000 individuals. Reward, 10,000 merit points. Ding. Received genuine worship from 564 individuals. Reward, 5,640 merit points. Ding. Received genuine worship from 346 individuals. Reward, 3,460 merit points. When Zhou heard this notification, he was slightly stunned. After a while, he thought it was only normal. After all, there were many citizens in Liang Province City. He wondered which disciple of his was being worshipped by the civilians. He could not help but feel the numbers were too low. Perhaps, the citizens were wary about returning to the city so soon after the war ended. Unfortunately, he could not force people to worship him. In any case, this was better than nothing. Merit points, 99,603. Zhou was angry when he saw his current points. If he did not purchase a Deadly Strike card earlier, he could have purchased 2 Golden Lotus leaves and returned to the 8-leaf stage. Zhou inhaled deeply to calm down. He really felt like cursing. Perhaps, he was used to his new identity, his attitude had turned calmer. Forget it. Being short of 400 merit points isn't a big deal. Creak. At this moment, the door opened. Zhu Honggong walked in respectfully. He prostrated himself on the floor as he said, "Greetings, Master." Zhou collected his thoughts and observed Old Eighth for a while. The gears in his mind were whirring as an idea took form. For a time, the room was silent. Zhu Honggong found his master's silence strange and discomfiting, so he stole a glance at his master and tentatively called out, "Master?" Zhou asked, "What's your cultivation base?" "I'm now at the 3-leaf stage after recultivating. Lately, with the help of my father, I've improved slightly." "Oh?" Zhou asked expressionlessly. "Among the Evil Sky Pavilion disciples, whose cultivation base is the lowest?" "Naturally, it's little junior sister Conk," Zhu Honggong smiled and said. "Little junior sister isn't at fault since she had just recently joined the Evil Sky Pavilion. It hasn't even been a year since she began to cultivate. It would not take her long to enter the nascent divinity realm. Even 9th junior sister can't compare to her." "Who's the second last then?" Lu Zhou asked. Zhu Honggong began to guess the reason for his master's questions. Why did his master suddenly ask about his disciples' cultivation bases? There was no need to mention his 2nd to 7th senior brothers. Their cultivation bases were much more profound than his. His 9th junior sister was a little ancestor, and he would not even compare himself to her. Since he had already mentioned Conk, his little junior sister, there was only one person left. When the name appeared in Zhu Honggong's mind, he cleared his throat before he solemnly replied, "In reply to your question, Master. It's eldest senior brother. However, that's not his fault as well. After all, he hasn't even regained his memories, and his cultivation base is lying dormant." "What about the third from the last?" Lu Zhou asked again. Zhu Honggong was taken aback. He finally saw where his master's questions were leading to. He hastily said, "I'm dumb, and I shouldn't be proud of myself. I've only improved by a single leaf, and I'm already bragging. I promise to cultivate harder after this." Ding. Disciplines Zhu Honggong. Reward, 200 merit points. Your eldest senior brother's cultivation base is much more profound than yours, Lu Zhou said. I know that I've made a mistake. I'm the second weakest. Zhu Honggong suddenly felt that the comparison was not strong enough. He slapped himself with smooth movements born from habit. I was wrong to talk about eldest senior brother behind his back. I deserve to be punished. Ding. Punished Zhu Honggong. Reward, 200 merit points. Lu Zhou felt much better after hearing the 2 notifications. Seems like I should speak with my disciples more often about their cultivation bases and their conducts. It was the duty of a teacher to resolve his students' confusions. There was no end to learning, and there would always be room for knowledge. It's good that you're aware. You may leave, Lu Zhou said as he waved his arm. I'll take my leave now, Master. Zhu Honggong exited the room respectfully. When he was outside the room, he scratched his head. What's with Master? Why did he suddenly ask these questions? Wait. Why did I even come here in the first place? Did I come here to get scolded? After being scolded, he had forgotten the reason he had come looking for his master. Inside the room. Lu Zhou opened the item column. Without any hesitation, he purchased another golden lotus leaf. Ding. Spent 100,000 merit points. Obtained golden lotus leaf X2. Use. One of the golden lotus leaves swiftly dissolved into spots of starlight before entering Lu Zhou's Dantian Sea of Qi. He manifested his avatar and shrunk it until it hovered in his palm. As the primal Qi energy in his Dantian Sea of Qi increased, he could sense that he was about to sprout a new leaf. His eyes were focused on the rapidly spinning golden lotus under the shining golden avatar. The 6 leaves were spinning as well. Shortly after rings of light began to move down from the avatar. Lu Zhou's mind contained various techniques and experiences of sprouting leaves. However, he had no experience of using the golden lotus leaf. If he did not have the system, it would have been impossible for him to sprout leaves so rapidly. The radiant rings continued sliding down from the waist of the avatar to the feet. Whiz. A crisp sound rang in the air. Lu Zhou saw a leaf sprouting from a corner of the golden lotus. The leaf was golden and shining. Soon enough, it looked the same as the other leaves around it. His golden lotus was now a 7-leaf golden lotus. Meanwhile, the surge of primal qi outside Lu Zhou's room drew his disciples' attention. The Nether Sect disciples guarded the entrance to the courtyard. They did not allow anyone without proper business to get close. The Patriarch is cultivating in seclusion. Guard the place well. I heard that the Patriarch loves to try eccentric things. No matter what happens, don't get close. Naturally, those who had no business to be there could not get close. The disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion and a few others were nearby. They looked at the courtyard where Lu Zhou was staying. Zhu Tianyuan said with a sigh, Brother Ji is already at the 9-leaf stage. Why is he cultivating the method to sprout leaves? Maybe he's preparing for the 10-leaf stage? Zhu Honggong speculated wildly. You have a point. Zhu Honggong was speechless. Old 8th, you were in Master's room earlier. Did you notice anything different? Duanmu Shang asked. Not really. Everything seemed normal. Master gave me a round of compliments. That's all, Zhu Honggong said with a straight face. Zhu Tianyuan said, my son, did you tell him what I told you to tell him? Father, would you believe me if I told you that I forgot about it? Zhu Tianyuan rolled his eyes at him. He was about to lecture him when he launched into a coughing fit. The direct battle with the elites of the 7 allied nations had dealt him heavy damage. Let alone lecturing someone, it was impressive enough that he managed to emerge from the battle standing. Zhu Honggong was speechless. He said, Master has just given me an earful, and now, you too? Zhu Tianyun said sulkily, didn't he compliment you? He lectured me first before showering me with compliments. My son, you must bring this up to your master if you have the chance. I'm counting on you to take over the ancient saint cult, Zhu Tianyun said. I know, Zhu Honggong said absent-mindedly. The others looked at the sky above the courtyard where Lu Zhou was staying. The convergence of power made them click their tongues in wonder. Although they were used to seeing Lu Zhou gathering energy in this manner, they still stopped and watched. They wanted to gain some experience from his cultivation. This was especially true for the 4 elders who benefited from the time he gathered life energy. Apart from that, Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng had attained 1-leaf cultivation bases previously as well. After a moment, the courtyard fell silent. Inside the room, Lu Zhou looked at the 7 leaves on his golden lotus, pleased. Naturally, this was not the end. For most cultivators in Great Yen, this was indeed a profound realm. It brought with it status, fame, wealth, and glory. The perks were unending. Regardless of the sect, anyone with that cultivation base would be accepted as an elder. Alas, it was not enough for him. After all, he was the evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch who once stood at the peak of the 8-leaf stage. He was the greatest expert in the world. Lu Zhou did not stop improving his cultivation base. He recited in his mind, use. As the golden lotus leaf dissolved into spots of starlight and entered his Dantian's sea of qi, the golden lotus leaf on the system dashboard gradually disappeared. Fine. The system was stingy. He would have to rely on himself. This was clearly a sign for him to rely on his own strength to reach the 9-leaf stage from the 8-leaf stage. What was the 9-leaf stage like? The 9-leaf stage that Lu Zhou experienced when he used the peak trial card could not be used as a reference. It seemed impossible to have a limitless store of power. Jiang Wenxiu was flustered and lost the ability to make sound decisions. However, if Jiang Wenxiu had thought about it carefully, regardless of the realm, it was impossible to have a limitless supply of power. At this moment, power gathered above the courtyard again. It was much richer than before. Lu Zhou sensed that the primal qi in his Dantian's sea of qi was denser than when he attained the 7-leaf stage moments ago. From the 5-leaf stage, the addition of a single leaf meant a substantial leap for cultivators. Naturally, the changes from the 7-leaf stage to the 8-leaf stage were huge as well. Lu Zhou summoned his avatar again. The miniature golden statue appeared above his palm. At the same time, golden energy rings kept sliding down from its waist. The golden lotus under its feet seemed to be spinning much more quickly than before. He could feel the golden lotus was being nourished, and it grew brighter due to the radiant energy rings. This was the sign of a breakthrough. The higher a cultivator's realm was, the more difficult it would be to improve. Who could sprout 2 leaves consecutively like what Lu Zhou was doing? However, it had to be said that he was not an ordinary cultivator. If he used Ji Tiandao's peak 8-leaf cultivation base as a reference point, the time he spent since his transmigration was nothing but the low point of his life. Even if he reached the 8-leaf stage, it would only amount to a restoration to his previous state. In the eyes of the others, he was already a 9-leaf cultivator. Therefore, the 8-leaf stage was not enough. The radiant rings descended and sank into the golden lotus under the avatar's feet. At this moment, the golden lotus began to buzz. Shortly after, his Dantian sea of qi became unbearably hot. His primal qi was being replenished as well. His 7-leaf state was already at the peak. Zhou could clearly feel that whenever the radiant rings slid down, his own cultivation base would rise. Click. A crisp and pleasing noise rang in the air. Something stirred in Zhou's heart, and he looked at the golden lotus. The golden lotus slowed its speed of spinning. It was now one size larger, and a new leaf had appeared at a previously vacant spot. This meant that Zhou had returned to the 8-leaf nascent divinity realm, the peak of his cultivation base. At the same time, he could feel the walls of his Dantian sea of qi being broken through. It was now much larger than before. He could keenly feel he was far stronger than those at the 6 or 7-leaf stage. Zhou clenched his fist, and the golden lotus avatar disappeared. He did not step outside immediately. Instead, he closed his eyes and familiarized himself with the 8-leaf stage. Meanwhile, the evil sky pavilion's flying chariot was crossing heaven's moat toward Liang province. Ming-Shirin, who was manning the helm, looked ahead and said, "After heaven's moat, we'll reach Liang province soon." Lang Luo, Pan Litian, and Yu Zhenghai were staring at two of the paralyzed passengers on the deck, Angue and Lanhai. One of them was the king of Lulan, and the other was the head of the Bonner family. Ever since Zhou destroyed the forces of the 4 allied nations, the remnants of the forces were not a match for the rest of the evil sky pavilion. Even if they were, they would not easily make another move. To atone for his sins, Angue brought Lanhai and boarded the cloud-splitting chariot. They intended to apologize to Zhou in person. "Dear elders, please put in some good words for us when we meet the old Mr. later," Angue said in a flattering tone. Sure. Lang Luo replied. Upon hearing this, Pan Litian asked, "Old Lang, you're not really thinking of pleading for him, are you? For someone as two-faced as him, we should just kill him with a single strike." Upon hearing this, Angue's face paled immediately. Ming-Shirin did not bother with Angue. Instead, he pointed at the corpses in heaven's moat and said, "Look." This drew Lang Luo, Pan Litian, and Yu Zhenghai's attention. They looked in the direction Ming-Shirin had pointed. Towering trees were felled, and corpses were strewn everywhere. From heaven's moat to Liang province, it seemed as though something had crashed through the landscape. 5 straight pits trailed uninterrupted all the way to Liang province. The cloud-splitting chariot followed the pits. Lang Luo said, "The 7 allied nations have already reached Liang province. There might be trouble up ahead. We should be careful." 3 days had passed, so the 4 of them were worried about Liang province. Therefore, as soon as they dealt with things in Lulan, they immediately flew to Liang province without stopping to rest. Along the way, they would look at the marks of battles on the ground. The land was riddled with holes. Angue and Lanhai, who saw the scene on land, were greatly shaken. The flying chariot slowed down its speed. The aftermath of the battle left all of them stunned for a moment. Wars were cruel. The barbarians with the ambition of wolves would never understand this. They would always attempt to benefit from wars. In the end, what did they get? Bam. At this moment, a wail resounded in the air. Yu Zhenghai had fiercely stomped on Angue. When Angue recovered from the pain, a puzzled expression appeared on his face as he said, This has nothing to do with me." Yu Zhenghai said, "So what? Can't I stomp on you even if you have nothing to do with this?" Sure, you can." Angue pressed his chest. Lanhai was already beside himself with fright. His back was drenched in sweat. "We're here." The others looked down at Liang province. After the battle, many cultivators were bustling in the city, trying to rebuild it. On the city walls, cultivators were cleaning the bloodstains in shifts. Huge groups of Great Yen cultivators carried the bodies under the city walls away. Bam. Angue wailed in pain and despair again. Yu Zhenghai did not even wait for Angue to speak as he said, "I'm stomping on you because I feel uneasy." "Sorry. Please, don't be." As the saying went, the loser would have to acquiesce to the winner. Although he was the king of a nation, he had no choice but to bear with this treatment. In Liang province, Zhou opened his eyes and slowly rose to his feet. After stretching his limbs, he knew the next issue he had to tackle was about his longevity. Judging from Luo Shirin's notes, breaking through to the 9-leaf stage required 1,200 years. In other words, he needed, at least, 876 reversal cards to reach the 9-leaf stage while maintaining his current condition. Currently, he only had 33 reversal cards. Since his cultivation base had increased by 2 leaves, he wondered if the price of the reversal card rose as well. He was about to use his reversal card when a voice rang from outside. Master, eldest senior brother is back. He brought a memory crystal with him. Send them here. Understood.